Well, we received a tip from someone who sent in an email to us, and we started looking for an additional story. We started looking into it. And then as we were searching this page, we found other videos, and we started to look at those videos and click on them so we could kind of just get an idea of what this Twitter page was all about. And when we saw these other videos, we knew immediately that there was something very out of the ordinary about them, and to us personally, to me personally, they were both shocking and disturbing. Well, it was immediately apparent to us that we had to take some action, that something had to be done about this. I mean, as a journalist, I do feel that I have a responsibility to let people know what is going on in their communities and also to inform people about potential hazards. And this is a safety issue. It was immediately apparent to me that this was a safety issue and that we were dealing with a potential child abuse case here. So, and one of my biggest concerns was that perhaps the parents of this child did not know what was happening, that perhaps the daycare did not know what was happening. And so immediately I felt I needed to start taking those steps to inform those people initially before I started telling the story to everyone in Arkansas. It was difficult at first to determine exactly where the videos originated from. That required some investigating on my part. I had to determine who owned the Twitter account and then at what daycare they worked at. You could easily see that it was a daycare situation there, and we were talking about potentially a child in someone else's care. So I needed to find that daycare, and I had to make several phone calls, do some digging, contact my sources in order to do that. But I knew that it was going to take some confrontation at that daycare in order to get the answers that I needed from the employee and from the daycare itself. I first confirmed that that employee worked at that daycare through a phone call, and then I did go to that daycare, asked to speak with the employee. I was put on hold for an hour, but we did not give up. We knew we were not going to leave. We were going to stay there until we could get some answers about these videos. Eventually, the owner came to the daycare. We talked with her. We were kind. We explained what we were there to do and that we were trying to just simply get some answers and find out a little bit more about these videos. And with the owner, we were able to confront the employee. We had some tough questions that we needed to ask this employee. I wanted to know who made the video, who was in the video, who posted those videos online. Those were all things I felt I had to get answers to. And certainly those were difficult questions for that person to answer, because I do believe immediately that employee knew something had gone very wrong here and that this child was potentially in a hazardous situation. Certainly the daycare owner knew that as well. So I had to continue asking a series of questions to this person, but I wasn't going to give up. I was going to make sure that she answered my questions and gave me straight answers so that I could find out exactly what happened and then potentially help inform the parents of this child what had happened. Well, the employee at the daycare did not want to answer my questions in a straight manner. She kept putting her hand up in front of the camera. I tried to de-escalate the situation a little bit, just be kind again to her and be professional with her. But I, again, needed to know some of these answers. So we were there as we were talking and explaining. We took the video that we had. We had the video evidence there. We showed it to both the owner and the employee. The owner, I think, was immediately taken aback. The employee eventually started to get very upset about the situation. She decided she did not want to talk to us anymore after she was fired. The owner immediately took action, decided she had to fire the employee on the spot in front of our camera. The employee was escorted out of the building. She was told to gather her things and leave immediately. As she was passing by there, she put her hand up and physically shoved our photojournalist in the camera lens, knocking him back, hitting his head against a wall, and eventually, having some of our equipment tumble to the ground. She was that angry with us. As a journalist, I have a duty to give people the news that matters to them. And what parent doesn't love their children and think about the safety of their children? What member of the community doesn't think about our kids and how important and how much they matter to us? And as a journalist, I have a duty to protect children. I have a duty to get out there into the community and see what is happening to people and what matters most to them. That's why this was a story. So many people can relate to a daycare situation. They have kids, they've got to go to work. Sometimes you just have to rely on daycare. So this is something that really does matter to people because they entrust other people to take care of their kids, and someone has to be holding those people accountable. I do feel that it's made a difference, and this is one of those times as a journalist where I feel really proud of what I do because I think that I can make a difference. We immediately decided we were not going to let this go. It's not a one-day story where we just put it out there and then forget about it. We're going to continue to follow up on this particular story. And today we were able to talk to a child psychologist, understand more about how this is going to impact this child, talk to that person about how other people can learn from this situation, how parents can take something away from this and teach their kids and be better parents because of this story and the things that matter to them. And then additionally, we were able to get the state to see that they needed to make some changes as well. This was an opportunity to show the leaders of this state something that they may not have known before. We took this to them, and because of it, they've decided they want to make some changes to their policy. That's very powerful.